start stupid. You're not going to know everything. You're just not ever going to know everything. So if you get frozen by trying to understand and know everything before you start, you'll never get going. So just get your feet in and start. Jump into the water and you'll figure it out.
Welcome, fellow entrepreneurs, to the Entrepreneur Adventure Podcast, where we talk about Amazon wholesale and how you can use it to build an e-commerce empire, a side hustle, or anything in between. And now, your host, Todd Welch.
All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Adventure. We have a really good one for you today. Today I have on Don Henig. He is the co-founder of AccrueMe. He's the president of Propsy as well, which is a real estate application. He's got a bachelor's of business administration and finance from Hofstra University. He's built the 6th largest wholesale mortgage lender in the nation. He's been responsible for over $150 billion in mortgage financing easily, he said. So he's got a lot of history and a lot of knowledge on financing businesses. And that's what we're going to dive into in this episode is financing your Amazon business, because as we're growing, it can be very difficult. So Don, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Why don't you dive a little bit more into your background, because you've got a lot of stuff going on.
Sounds great, Todd. Thanks, man. I'm excited about this. And by the way, I love the name of your podcast. I think it's fantastic.
Appreciate it.
It is an adventure being an entrepreneur.
It is big time.
Yeah. So, I started in the business world in banking, but I was bored. So I studied the stock market and I studied estate planning, and I did all different things that you would want to do if you were a financial planner. I did it all on my own, and I became a licensed financial planner and started my own business and built it pretty big, bought my first house, first new car, all that kind of stuff, which was great. But then I saw an opportunity was happening. It was one of the first refinance booms in the mortgage industry. And I started getting asked questions about real estate and mortgages, which I didn't know. So I went out and I learned them and I studied it, and I started a mortgage company, and I built it to one of the largest in New York State at the time and sold it 10 years later. I quickly jumped into another business I had started, which was a mortgage broker franchise. It was never done before. And we built it to 765 companies nationwide and sold that. And I took some time off and decided, what do I want to do next? Well, I love being out on the fields with the kids. There's nothing better than that. So my son and daughter were into soccer at the time. So I started a soccer publication and became the official publication for the New York State Soccer, which we built it to 100. And when I say we, I was the only employee, the only guy, 165,000 copies of a full newspaper. This is, just when the internet was kicking off. Mm-hmm. And so 165,000 copies per month. I sold every ad, got every picture, got every article, did everything, distribution, made a lot of money with it. And I sold that. So a lot of different things. I started I got back into the mortgage industry and built the 6th largest wholesale lender in the nation and the 5th largest direct-to-consumer lender in the nation. I started a entertainment company at the same time. Did 8 feature-length films with the biggest name stars from Tom Cruise on down. And plus the Broadway show Rock of Ages, which I believe we ended up as the 26th longest running play of all time, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Just did a whole bunch of things. Got into the fix and flip world and bought 300 houses and flipped them all in 18 months. A whole bunch of different things. And a couple of years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine from the mortgage industry from 30 years ago. And we started talking about Amazon and Amazon sellers. And this just leads into the beginning of AccrueMe, and then I'll shut up and see where you want to take this. But, we started talking about it. And I love helping entrepreneurs grow businesses. I especially love helping young entrepreneurs grow businesses and mentor them. So it really caught my interest. I was retired for 5 years, and now, I had no desire to get back in. But this looked like too exciting of an opportunity. So we came up with this idea of AccrueMe, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And I came out of retirement to do this. It's that exciting. So I'll stop for now.
Yeah, very, very cool. A lot of great things that you've done in your past. So I'd like to get your idea or your opinion on, because a lot of people say, you got to stay focused on only one thing. So do you agree with that? Or do you think it's okay to do lots of different things? Did you do one thing at a time? Tell us a little bit more about your thoughts on that.
For the most part, I did one thing at a time. And for the most part, and I'll give you a controversial thought on this. I believe men really should stay with one thing at a time, but women can do multiple things. It's just the way it is. I've seen it too many times. Women can, multitask, and men, I don't know why, but I know I can't do it.
No.
But what I found, Todd, is that, let's say I'm running two different businesses. As long as I focus on this one and this issue, whatever it may be at this time, I'm good. And then, box it, if you will. And now at noon, I'm going to flip over to this other company, and I'm not looking at this company at all at that point. I'm now 100% focused on whatever the topic is there. And, everybody will know my schedule at that time. And, we know when we're going to talk about this topic or that topic. And I am not going to talk about this and that at the same time, because it gets confusing and I'm not going to be good. And I like to be creative. I like to think about things and sit back and say, how can we do this differently than anybody else has done? And that's really AccrueMe. We came up with that, but I've done that through my whole career. How can we do this differently? How do you start an entertainment company with very little money in it, with just one partner, myself and a partner, and build it to 8 feature-length films, again, with all the biggest name stars and a big Broadway show, starting from scratch? How do you do that? You just start. And my statement on that, Todd, and that you might appreciate this. I bet you a lot of people will appreciate this. The statement is very simple. Start stupid. You're not going to know everything. You're just not ever going to know everything. So if you get frozen by trying to understand and know everything before you start, you'll never get going. So just get your feet in and start. Jump into the water, and you'll figure it out.
People in the Amazon world have that problem that holds them back, because they're like, okay, I want to start selling on Amazon. And then they're like, but how do I run advertising? How do I optimize listings? And how do I get exclusive agreements? You haven't even started selling yet. None of that matters. Learn the next step, then the next step, then the next, and the next, and just keep building on top of it.
Exactly. And speaking of that, and speaking like the wholesale model, I called 10 suppliers, and they all said to me they don't want any more Amazon sellers. Mm-hmm. Oh, what am I going to do? No, call 10 a day, and be focused on this. If it's difficult, that means that's where the gold is. Yep. So go and do it, work harder than anything, and stay focused on that one thing, because that is the gold, as you know.
Yep. And are you familiar with Pat Flynn?
I am not.
Smart Passive Income. Definitely check him out. He's pretty awesome. smartpassiveincome.com. But he's one of the guys who kind of helped me. He doesn't know who I am, but his podcast and stuff gave me motivation and things. And one of the things that he talks about is, I don't know if he calls it the 80-20 or 75-25 or something, but he's like, work on your primary source of income, like 4 days, 5 days out of the week, and then take 1 day to work on something that is an interest that may or may not work, but that gives you the kind of, you can shift your thinking for a while, work on something else, that shiny object, so to speak, but then get back and put all your attention on your primary focus.
I love it. And how many times will that shiny object become your primary focus at some point in time? If you give it that shot and give it that, that focus for that 1 day, if you will. you may find that that is so much more exciting than the one that you're spending 5 days on.
Yep.
I love that. That's a great idea.
For sure. I'm curious, though, how did you go from mortgage and finance to making movies?
I had invested in a Broadway show. And when the Broadway show was closing, it was a great show. It was a lot of fun. We really just enjoyed the whole experience. When the show was closing, I was standing out on Broadway. And one of the main producer came up to me. We were standing next to each other. And he said to me, "Hey, Don, would you like to invest in a movie?" And I was making a lot of money at the time, many millions. And I said, "Sure, that sounds like fun. Yeah, I'll do that." And I said, "But wait a minute, how do you make money?" And before he could answer, I said, "I'm guessing that as a producer, when I invest in this movie, you're getting some percentage of that. And, you need to get me to invest in more movies so that you can put food on the table and pay your rent." And he said to me, these were his exact words. He said, "I can't believe you're saying that, but you're absolutely true. You're absolutely right." So I said, "So why don't we do it differently?" And again, it's freezing cold. We're standing out there with 100 other people. It's like a family, it's our last meal. I said, "Why don't we do something different? Instead of me investing in the movie, how about I invest in you?" I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, instead of me putting this amount into the movie, how about I put like 5 times that amount or 10 times that amount into an account? And this way you get paid every week. You never have to worry about your rent and putting food on the table. And we start a business, but we never ask somebody to invest in something unless we firmly believe it's going to be gold." And he said, "That would change my life." And I said, "Well, let's change your life." And he and I are still good friends, and we've worked it, and he's still in that industry. I'm not. And it was great experience. Loved it. A lot of fun.
Yeah, those are the kind of fun things you can do when you have success, right? Getting into
it's true.
The movie industry and things like that. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I have to tell you, it wasn't very profitable, honestly. We did big things. We met all these fun people, sitting next to Tom Cruise, reviewing what we just did and all that is a lot of fun. But more than all of that, the parties that they throw in the entertainment world, they're unbelievable, ridiculous, a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, yeah. One of my passions is horse racing. So with the funds that I make from the business, some of them I'd like to eventually buy into a horse and, go for the Kentucky Derby and stuff like that. You don't necessarily make a ton of money in horse racing unless you do really well, but it'd just be so fun to pursue that passion, It's
exciting. That's fun.
For sure. All right. Very good. So yeah, definitely sounds like you've had a very enjoyable life with lots of different experiences. So that's good.
And what it enabled me to do, Todd, is meet tons of people from different parts of the world, if you will, and, different industries that, they wouldn't normally cross over. And it's just exciting. I've learned an awful lot, and I've just had fun through the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Sure. And that's what it's all about, right? We work hard so that we can have a lot of fun doing it and whatever we really want to do, basically.
Yeah. And I'm still friends, literally, with, a good amount of the people from my first company on. And every single place I've ever worked and every single company I've built, I'm good friends with just about all those people. Not that I'm not friends with anybody, but some we just lose touch with. But I love that. I think that's the best thing in the world.
For sure. For sure. Life really has a lot to do with connections and relationships. I mean, that's what does. Amazon Wholesale is all about, building relationships with brands and suppliers and things like that.
I love the wholesale model.
Absolutely. Same here. Now, before we get into funding the wholesale model, earlier, before we started recording, we were talking about morning routines and the importance of having a morning routine. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that?
Sure. I've always had a little bit of a morning routine, but about 10 or 15 years ago, I started a specific morning routine. I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I grab my coffee. I come to my desk. I'm not looking at email. What I do is I put pictures of my parents who have passed away, my grandparents, some of my aunts and uncles, people that are my in-laws who have also passed. And I put them on my desk and I have my own little conversation with them. And I think of each one of them. And it's very easy to do is look at each one and think of something you're grateful about. And you start thinking about memories from when you're 4 years old, as crazy as that may sound, or when you're 10 years old, and things that were just fun in your life. And this uncle who used to do this, and and you can look at them and just say thank you, and it starts the day off wonderfully. And then from there, and I just keep it on my desk, is, I don't know if you can see this, but the 5-minute journal.
Yep.
And so in here are all my pictures, and the 5-minute journal is just a simple way to organize it and make it easy to, have a morning gratitude session. So it's 3 things that you're grateful for, 3 things that will make today great, and a statement, I am. And that could be, I am excited for today, or it could be, I'm a little flat, but I'm going to work my ass off to get back up, whatever it might be. Or, I'm not happy with the way this week has gone so far, so today's going to be my best day yet. Or I'm kicking ass and I'm going to continue to kick ass, whatever it might be. It could be just like, I'm happy, I love my life, whatever it might be. It's a statement. It takes a few minutes to do. It's wonderful. And the book just keeps you organized with it. And it's just wonderful. And so from there, I do some maybe 15 minutes of stretching, yoga kind of stuff. And then I either go to the gym and I do HIIT training, high intensity interval training, or at home I have a infrared sauna. So I'm either going to the gym or I'm in the sauna. And in the sauna, I'm listening to a podcast and learning something in the world, whatever it might be, whatever hits me that day. So for the first 3 hours of my day, it's mind, body, spirit. And then I come back in ready to go and I dig in. I'm excited for the day. I can't wait for the day. It's not like I'm starting off slow. I'm starting off fast. So that's my morning routine. It works.
Yep. Yeah, I'm right there with you on the morning routine. Mine's relatively similar. I get up about 5:50. I want to move that to 5:30.
Slacker.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, so I get up around 5:50, get my coffee, go sit by the fireplace and read a chapter in whatever book I'm reading at the time. And
Nice.
then I also do about 15 minutes of yoga, and then about 30, 40 minutes of some kind of exercise. Right now I'm into this boxing routine and stuff, which is a lot of fun. And then, from there, have breakfast, take a shower, all that great stuff, and get to work. And it really does make a difference. It just really prepares for the day. You feel good, you're motivated, you're ready to go, your body is good, and it makes a huge difference. And I really wanted to talk about it. You brought it up, and I thought it would be great to talk about because, it's really hard to build a successful business if you don't have yourself straightened out first and have some kind of game plan going on and some kind of routine.
Absolutely. My mother, before she passed, she would, for many, many, many years, I would talk to her pretty much every day. And she would, I had all these different businesses going at different times. She never knew what I was doing. And she would, inherently know when I was stressed, as all of our parents would know when we are stressed. And, being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of stressful times. Mm-hmm. So, she would say to me, what are you reading? Have you worked out? And how's your diet? What are you eating these days? And she would just ask me these simple questions. And then she'd always finish up with, take an extra vitamin C. But it was great advice. Read something positive, read something that's motivational for yourself that you're going to learn. So get your mind going. Are you working out? Are you exercising? Because if you're not, the stress is just going to keep building. You got to do those things. And you have to eat healthy. If you're eating like shit, like typically, if you're, stressed and you're working too hard, what do most people do? They drink more coffee. Mm-hmm. No, cut back on the coffee. Change it. Cut back on the coffee. Coffee is not going to keep you up. That's just going to make you jittery. There's better ways to do it. And, so anyway, that's the advice my mom would give you.
Yep. Yeah, it's super important to have that in your lifestyle and working on yourself as well as your business. And
Absolutely.
it might sound like, well, you're doing all that stuff and you're losing like 3 hours in the morning that you could be working, but in reality, you get so much more done when you feel better.
You really do. So stay with that. If anybody has that thought in their mind, try this exercise. It's very simple. Email. Email is the easiest example. So if you sat in front of your computer for, 3 hours in the morning, from 9 to 12, answering all the emails, reading this article, answering more emails, and so forth, that's what you would get done in 3 hours. But if you didn't do that and you came back at quarter to 12, 20 to 12, and you only had 20 minutes to do it, you would get it all done in 20 minutes. 100%, I guarantee you'd get it all done, probably in 10 minutes, but I'm giving you 20. So you wasted 2 hours and 40 minutes, really just wasting it, on stuff that's not that important. So try it yourself, and I guarantee you that works.
Yep. A task will expand to the time that you allow it.
That's exactly right. You're 100% right. You said it much better than me.
Like in school, right? You got a report to do and you got 2 weeks to do it. You wait till the last day and then you just get it all done real fast.
And you get it done. It always gets done. Yeah. So, I say that to my wife. Well, we have this. I said, relax. It'll all get done. Not a problem.
For sure. Absolutely. All right. Very good. So, AccrueMe. Tell us more about what you guys do and how it can help me grow my business.
Sure. This is kind of mind-blowing for people. I have to tell you that people, when they hear this, it's something different that they've never heard, but it's in my, prejudiced way of thinking, it's the best way to grow your business and to gain capital to grow your business. So here, just think of it this way. If I told you, I will double your capital with no interest, no required monthly payments, and no loss of ownership, you'd say, come on, what's the catch? This is crazy. It's insane. What people say is it sounds too good to be true. And we laugh every time because it does sound too good to be true, but it's all true. So what do we get? We get a small percentage of profits for as long as you use our money. So you can't lose. We set it up so that you can't lose. So we're not looking at your credit report. We're not, digging your credit report in any way. We're not looking at your financials. We're not asking you to sign a personal guarantee. So wait, who's taking the risk here? We're giving you the money. We're not charging you any interest. We're not requiring you to make monthly payments. We're not taking any ownership in your business. Mm-hmm. Kind of reverse the risk. Instead of like a bank loan where you're taking the risk, we're taking the risk. And so you're able to use our money to grow your business. So why would we do that? So very simply, we have the belief in Amazon sellers, for the most part, that you're going to do great. And if you had the capital to grow, you would do even better. And then even more, because we'll give you more money. We'll keep giving you more money as you're growing. So why would we want you to pay us back every month and hurt your growth? Mm-hmm. Monthly payments is not going to help you to grow. So we let you keep that money, and we'll let whatever portion of the profits we earn, we'll let it accrue. So if we give you $10,000 and we earn $500, you could pay us the $500. We're happy with that. Or next month, where our investment is basically $10,500.
Okay.
It's very simple. And then, so here, if you think about it, if you're in a growth mode, you're going to be able to grow your business because you'll have the funding to do it. But then what happens? We all know how it works. You're going to end up, for some months, to be flush with cash because they're not going to be months where you're going to be growing, rapidly. So when you have cash sitting in the bank, kind of makes sense just to pay us down. So if we earned $500, pay us the $500. We gave you $10,000. Maybe you're going to send us $2,000 and bring us down so we earn a smaller percentage of the profit, and you have more money to grow. And when you're ready to grow, it's very simple. It just works. That's what we do.
So I think probably the biggest question out there is like, okay, yeah, it all sounds great, but what are you going to do? Take like 50% of my profits?
Yeah. So imagine this. Let's say you had $10,000 and you were earning a 20% return. Okay. I'm just going to use that as a number. I don't care what the number is. Doesn't matter. So $2,000. And now I gave you another $10,000. You could, pretty reasonably, you'll earn $2,000 on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's reasonable. So what would we get? So we're equal partners, right? You have $10,000. We have $10,000. We're 50-50. Whatever our percentage of capital is, cut it in half. So we get 25% of the profit. You get 75. Mm-hmm. So you earned $2,000 on your own. With us, you earned $4,000. We got 1,000. You got 3,000. So your ROI just went from 20% to 30% with no additional risk on you. Mm-hmm. You didn't take on any additional risk. It's not a bank loan. It's not debt. You didn't lose ownership, but you just literally went from 20% to 30%.
Yep.
That's it. If we represent 20% of the capital, so you have $8,000 and we give you 2,000, right? So we're 20%, we get 10% of the profit. And it changes every month. And we monitor it. We have a system that does it, and you'll be logged into the system. You see it every day. And that's the way it works. It's really, really basic. It's very, very simple. But you just haven't heard, I say you, but people just haven't heard it enough. Lending has been around for 2,000 years. If I said to you, my interest rate is X and my payment is that and my term is this, you'd understand. Here, it's a little bit different. It's much, much better. Again, we're taking on the risk as opposed to you. We're giving you the money to grow whenever you want to grow, whenever you can grow. And you pay us when it's right for you and your business, not pay us when it's wrong for your business. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you took out a loan today. Nothing against Amazon. They're great with as far as their lending and everything, not a problem. But let's say you took out an Amazon loan today for $100,000 and you'd pay it back roughly $10,000 a month. It's like $9,000 a month, but we'll leave it at 10. Come September, when you want to grow, you're going to have like $30,000 left. And when you're trying to grow, you're still going to be taking money out of your profits and sending them $10,000 a month when you need to grow your business. That doesn't make sense to me. With us, if you took $100,000 from us, and then let's say 3 or 4 months from now, you might say, we're flush with cash. Here's $20,000. That's great. Terrific. But now, or you're growing and growing and growing. You're not taking money out of your business to send to us. And come September, your business is not, you don't have $100,000 in your business. Now, because remember, we gave you $100,000. Now you have $240,000 because you have these big profits in your business. You can keep growing, and you don't have to take money out when you need to grow. You're going to have a big, big, big business much quicker than you ever could on your own, by far. There's nothing else that can come close to this. Nothing. Yeah. And I've run all the numbers.
Yeah, a lot of people are afraid to take money and things like that, but a lot of times it can be very beneficial to grow your business. Like you said, if you're growing super fast,
yeah,
a lot of businesses fail because they run out of money, not necessarily because they're not doing well, they're not profitable, but perhaps they're just growing too fast and they run out of cash to be able to keep paying the bills.
We see it all the time. And so, with wholesale, I've heard this from so many people, and I think it's true, and you'll know better than me. But when you start in wholesale, you have enough money to start, whatever that number is, whether it be $1,000 or $20,000, whatever the number is. But it's enough money to start. Mm-hmm. But you don't have enough suppliers. You don't have the product. So now you're out there working your ass off and you're figuring out, and you start getting the suppliers. And before long, it might take 4 to 6 months. You have enough good suppliers, but now you need more money. Yep. Because you can't fulfill these orders. And you have the opportunity all over the place, but you need the capital to grow. That kind of a seller is perfect for us. And so go back to your thought that people, are, sometimes concerned about, taking money, additional money. Well, this is different. Again, if you're borrowing money, It's scary. I don't care who you are. If you're using credit cards or you're borrowing, that bill comes every month. And when you have bad months, that's really, really rough. Or if you're using your credit cards and now, your husband or wife says, at Christmas time, hey, let's take the kids to Disney. The credit cards are maxed out right now. I've got everything on inventory on the credit cards. We got to stay local. That's not a fun conversation either. So with us, it's a matter of taking the money when you have these opportunities, grow your business when you have the opportunities. And when you don't, when you're flush with cash, it's in your best interest. Pay us down. Our percentage of profit comes down. Everybody wins.
Yep.
So we don't have to tell you to pay us. It's just in your best interest.
Yeah. And if you're carrying a balance on those credit cards, that'll beat you up and destroy your personal credit real fast.
Well, nobody starts out thinking they're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody starts out saying, well, I'm going to use these credit cards to grow my business, which makes no sense in my mind anyway, because you're using short-term credit for a long-term purpose. But that's a whole nother story. But they're all saying, well, don't worry, honey, I'm going to pay these off every month. And then 1 month, I've seen it too many times, and I got there as well at one point. 1 month, didn't have the money to pay it all. So, all right, so I was, $2,000 in the hole, but I'm going to pay that off in 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks, I pay that $2,000. Okay, I'm good. But now I only have 2 weeks to pay this month. It doesn't happen. And it flows into the next month. And now it's not 2,000, it's 4,000 or 5,000. And before you know it, it's 50 or 60 or 70,000. And I don't care who you are, you're going to have a hard time sleeping. It's just the way it is. That's dangerous. The way we're doing it is not like that. If I'll give you a great example in everybody's mind. Last year when coronavirus hit, and the deal when Amazon said, nope, you can't send that in unless it's, whatever the specific items, whatever it was, the required items. We had clients, mainly on private label, who went from making really tremendous profits month after month. And then comes March and April and May. And because they couldn't send any product in, they had no profit or losses. They didn't make any payments. They didn't have to take any money out of their pocket or out of their business. And they didn't owe us anything either. Mm-hmm. We didn't earn anything. So we're on the same side of the table as you. When you're making money, we're making money. When you're not, we're not. Yep. End of the story. So, we all we want to see is for you to do well. And when you do well, we do well. And truthfully, from our sellers, the best thing in the world they should do is look at us and say, hey, AccrueMe, I want you to do well. Because if we do well, they're killing it.
Yep.
It's the way it works.
Fine.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's not like a bank.
So how are you guys going about determining what profit is?
Yeah, great question. Perfect. So, the two big questions is what's profit and what's capital. So I'll start with profit. So profit is very simple, and in wholesale, it's even more simple than in some other ways. But profit is your revenue from Amazon, less your cost of goods sold, less all the Amazon fees, including PPC. That's what we consider profit. So if you're paying your car lease, we don't consider that part of the deal. But that's that. So where this doesn't work is in the sellers with $10 million a year in sales, and they have their own warehouse with 30 people working in it. All those expenses don't count. So they typically are not a good client for us. They love our model, but I know instantly it's not going to work. But for everybody else, it really works really, really well. So that's what profit is. I think you'd agree on that one. Mm-hmm. Capital, what do we consider capital? It's very simple. Again, it's what do you have at Amazon in inventory at cost, plus whatever is due from Amazon. Add those two numbers together, and that's capital. Okay. That's how much money you have in the business. If you've sent money to a supplier, and that money's inbound to Amazon, we count that as well. That inventory is inbound to Amazon, we count that as well. We count the due from Amazon as soon as it's due from Amazon. So that changes every day, as you know. And if you think about it, we're basically providing you money on that. So it's like that, basically getting that money in advance, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
That 2-week gap, we're basically giving it to you, really for no cost on that time.
Yep. All right. Very good. So that is good.
Come on, Todd. Crazy. Yeah, you got to say that's great, man. That's
yeah, for sure. I love the way the interests align. That's a really good thing.
So our first team meeting when we put this all together, and again, this has never been done before. This is out of the blue. This is from scratch. This is sitting over a lunch table, brainstorming for hours and hours and hours how to do this and how to do it right. And we had a simple premise that we wanted to do things where we're totally in alignment with the seller. Mm-hmm. And so our first team meeting, we put this whole thing together and we feel really good about it. And, we're excited. And we put a team together and we sit down in a conference room and I start the meeting off. And I swear to God, I start the meeting off with, guys, I just want to let you know, if you ever come up with an idea, and you will, and you come to me and you say, Don, we can make more money if we do X. I don't even want to talk to you. I don't even want to know about it. If you come to me and say, our sellers can make more money if we do X, then the door is open. Then we want to have that conversation, because all we should think about is how our sellers can make more money. We don't have to think about ourselves. If the sellers make more money, we make more money. It's very simple. So that's our premise of the whole company.
All right. Very good. I like it. It's definitely something that people can use, especially if you're growing fast.
It's for whenever you can grow. If you're growing, even if you're not growing super fast, but you're growing at a reasonable rate, terrific. But when all of a sudden, so you're growing, all right? You're at $5,000 a month in sales. And now you're growing, you're at $7,000 and $10,000, and you feel really good. But now, because you've done so well, this supplier comes to you and says, hey, Todd, I want you to be exclusive on this product line. Here are the numbers, and it's a killer. It's a great product line. But you got to buy $40,000 a month. You can't do it. But if you had the money to do it, you could take advantage of those opportunities when they come. And when you're going to a supplier and you're saying, look, I don't have $10,000, I've got $20,000, and I'm turning that over twice a month. So I can buy $40,000 in a month. That's a different story. Or when you're thinking about the products you're buying, instead of buying the $10 products, now you're thinking I could buy the $50 products, which should have fewer competitors and in many cases better margins. So it opens up new opportunities. Money is the key to this. There's no question in my mind. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have good guidance and all of that, but and you have to work hard. Mm-hmm. There's no kidding around here. Amazon, being an FBA seller is not like, oh, I'm a seller, I'm going to make a fortune. No, you got to get up in the morning and kick ass every day. Yep. And I've seen people do it where they thought it was just a switch and the money comes in. It does not work that way. You have to work hard.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned the 40,000. I have an opportunity that will be coming here soon, hopefully. I reached out to a supplier to buy direct from them. And she comes back and says, yeah, you can buy direct, but you got to meet these terms where the first order has to be a $50,000 truckload and then at least 4 purchases throughout the year. And I said, yeah, I can do that.
Good man.
I don't necessarily have 50,000 just laying around, but I can figure that out if I need to. And so I'm waiting for the salesperson to give me a call.
That's great.
We'll see if we can move forward with that. But yeah, those opportunities come up. And if you don't have that cash in the bank,
yep,
it can be beneficial to say, maybe reach out to you guys and say, hey, can I get 50,000, buy this stuff, and I'll pay you back as soon as I can.
Yeah, you're better off having a relationship and growing. And maybe you have 20,000 or 30,000 and you take 10,000 from us for a period of time and you get comfortable. Or maybe it's even, 10 is the lowest that will go. but you get comfortable with it, and you pay it back if you want, or don't if you want. That's fine, or pay it back when it's right for you. But then when you have that opportunity, and let's say you had 30,000 and we gave you 10,000, so now you have 40, and now you have this opportunity you're talking about right now, and you come to us and say, hey, we need another 10,000. It would be in your account in an hour, literally in an hour. That's how easy it is. It takes a little bit to get started. Like it might take a week to 10 days to actually get the deal done. But once we're working with you, in an hour, we can put money into your account. Mm-hmm. So you can be so confident when you're talking to these suppliers. It changes the game. As a seller working with suppliers, your confidence level is really important. You're getting on the phone knowing that you have this behind you. It changes the game. It changes the way you're going to talk. It changes the way that they hear you. So, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but that's just the way it is.
Yep. No, 100%. So 10,000 is the lowest you'll go. So to get started with you guys, do they need to at least have like 10,000 in inventory or something like that? Or how do you decide what's too small to get started?
So, Todd, I got to tell you, we're told we have $100 million to put out on the street, and, to Amazon sellers. And from our investment bankers on down, everybody says, why are you doing anything less than $100,000? It's going to be too difficult. And they're right. But I put my foot down on it, I swear to you. And initially I said, no, we want to help the small guy. And initially we went down as low as $5,000, but it became a little bit too difficult. So now we've increased it just to $10,000. So by 10,000, meaning you have to have inventory at cost, plus money due from Amazon, and maybe cash if you want. And if you're just shy of 10,000, we're not going to kill you. We're here to help you. We're not here to hurt you. So if there's a compelling reason, just put it on the table. We're happy to, look at it and try to help you if we can. We want to do deals. We don't want to, say no. But yeah, that's as low as I will go right now. And, we're trying to help the small guy as well as the big guy.
All right. Very good. Yeah. Now, is it something that, so let's say I don't need the money right now, but maybe I will in the near future. Can they get a hold of you guys, go through that process, get set up, not take the money now, but when they're ready, call you guys up and say, okay, I need 50,000?
Yeah, pretty much. Sure. So, the process is to go on our website, AccrueMe.com, and there's a calculator on there. And the calculator just asks for a few inputs, very simple. And it'll show you how much money you would make with us versus on your own. And it also shows what our profit participation would be over time. And now, as crazy as this is going to sound, as your business grows, and it will grow, your business gets bigger and bigger and bigger, we become a smaller and smaller percentage of the business. Mm-hmm. It's organically, that's the way it works, because you get so much more of the profit. Just think about it. If you left 75% in, and all we left in was the 25% that we earned, and that's at the max, the next month, you wouldn't represent 50%, you might represent 54%. And we're 46%. So we'd get 23% of the profit. And the next month, less and less. As you get bigger and bigger, we're a smaller and smaller piece. So yeah, you can go on the site, check out the calculator. There's a button for, get a funding proposal now, or whatever it says. It's right there. It's obvious.
Get a funding.
And all it does, it get funded. That's right. And all it does is ask you about 10 questions. It's simple. It takes 2 to 3 minutes to answer it. And then it automatically sends you back a proposal with a rough estimate of what we think we can do. And it asks for the MWS token so that we can actually see what your inventory is. We can't touch it or change it or anything. We just see your inventory. Mm-hmm. We get your cost per unit. And then we can give you a firm proposal, exactly what it is. And then we go over it line by line with every detail covered. We don't push anybody. We take our time with people. It's typically 2 to 3 phone calls that we have, because we want to make sure everybody fully understands this. This is new. It's different. It's not something that you've heard before. So we want to take our time. We want to make sure that you understand it, that you're comfortable. We never want you to get involved and then say, oh, I didn't know that. That's not good for anybody. So it's all about, getting comfortable, and that's it. That's the way it works. It's a very simple process. So yeah, if you went through that process and we did everything, and now but you don't need the money today. All right. Everything would be signed. Everything would be ready. And now a month goes by or 2 months go by. We'll stay in touch with you and you'll stay in touch with us. But now you have the opportunity. You come back and say, hey, look, I know you guys approved us for 10,000, but can we take out 5? I'm sure we would say yes. And because you have enough inventory and such there. All right, so you have $10,000 now. You want 5. All right, we'll give you 5. And now, a month, 2 months, 3 months later, you might need the next 5. All good. Again, we're here to help. If we can do it, we want to do it. So 1 requirement, 2 requirements is that you're in business for 6 months, that you're doing FBA for 6 months, and that you're an LLC. Mm-hmm. And the reason for an LLC is because as an LLC, we can change the LLC agreement to make us a new member, a new type of member. So we can be what we term the profit share member. You're the equity member. Mm-hmm. So you own 100% of the business. We only earn a percentage of profits. So when our money is out of the business, we are null and void. We're gone. There's nothing left. So it's all yours. We don't have a 1% or 2% or anything like that. Where if you had a corporation, we would have to own a percentage of the business. Okay. And we don't want to get in your pocket. So just the last thing on this, we've had plenty of people that have an S Corp. And all you do is you form an LLC, and the S Corp owns the LLC 100%. It takes about 2 days to do.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that as an affiliate for you guys, I could get $500 for people signing up, or I could give that to the people signing
Correct.
up. So I definitely would prefer to give that to the listeners who do decide to use you guys. So
you're a good man.
How can they take advantage of that opportunity? Basically get free $500.
So here's what you need to do. When you go on our site and you fill out the form, which again takes 2 to 3 minutes, there's a section on comments. It says, tell us a little bit about yourself. Just mention that you were referred by Todd or the entrepreneurs, adventure entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurs adventure. Either way, we'll know exactly where it came from. And when we fund you, we will give you an extra $500 to buy inventory. You don't have to buy it that moment, but $500 to buy inventory that you never have to pay back. It's yours. It just increases your capital in the business.
All right.
Flat out. That's very nice. And we didn't talk about this beforehand, by the way, just so everybody listens. We did not talk about this. I mentioned it in writing before the podcast. And we had not had a conversation. So this is a nice surprise. Very cool.
For sure. I figure if I can help other sellers out there, that's why I'm doing the podcast. Other people helped me, and
that's great.
Give them back. So
you're a good man.
All right. Awesome. So AccrueMe.com.
Yep.
Any final words of wisdom or things that we should talk about before we wrap up here?
What I would say to people is look me up on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm not one of these people that put blocks in the way of communicating. On LinkedIn, it's my full name, Donald Henig, Henig. My email is simple, don@AccrueMe.com. Or just go to our site, and when you put it in that Todd referred you, we're going to look to set up a phone call, and I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to almost 100% of the time be on that call, and just reiterate everything and make sure that you're comfortable. And so those are the things.
All
That's
right.
what we do.
Good, Don. I appreciate you coming on the show. I think we got a lot of valuable information in here and a way for people to get funding when they need it.
Sounds great, Todd. Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks. You have a great one.
I will. You too.
This has been another episode of the Entrepreneur Adventure Podcast. Thanks for listening, fellow entrepreneur. And always remember, success is yours if you take it.